to Conversations with Cheryl Weston. We're glad that you came and joined us today. And I have a couple of special guests. But as I always say, oh, my guests are special, or they wouldn't be on my show. So, with that said, we are going to open it up. I'm having Kasim from Black. Let me make sure here we got that Black Allegiance Alliance. And then Sherman Williams from Untamed LLC. So let's go ahead and begin, because I do like to start my stuff on time. So we're gonna bring Kazim in, and soon as Sherman makes it, we will bring him in. And looks like we're having a little technical problem. He can't hear me yet. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Okay, great. Great. Well, we're still waiting on Sherman, but as I already told my audience, I like to be on time. So we're going to have to get
Yes, ma'am.
started.
All right, I heard that.
And as I said to all, you are my special guests, and all of my guests are special to me. I don't care about anybody else. But
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to invite you because I've met you a couple of times in short, like in meetings, but I've heard so much about you and your organization, the Black Alliance Agenda. Did I get that right? The
Black Agenda Alliance.
Black Agenda Alliance, the
Yes, ma'am.
BAA. And
Yes, ma'am.
I like it for, well, let me back up here for a minute. My reasons I like your agenda online, the strength to strengthen the Black family, spearhead and promote psychological, spiritual healing and wellness, develop Black economic independence. And that's a big, big one for me. Advocate for political education, power, and involvement, grow Black educational independence and empowerment. So that is your agenda. And so I'd like for you, if you wouldn't mind, take a few minutes and introduce yourself, how your organization got started, and why you find this is so valuable.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Kasim Shabazz, 39 years of age, very devoted family man, father, husband, all of that good stuff. So as far as the Black Agenda Alliance go and how it got started, I came up, first of all, came from a gangster disciple background in regard to my connection to the streets. I once upon a time was an enforcer. I was really heavily active in the environment in regard to the street life. And coming up out of that, I ran into brothers like Terry Muhammad and Melvin Muhammads and stuff like that. They are responsible for helping pull me out of the streets, out of the trenches. For the most part. As time, I'm gonna jump over a big piece. As time progressed, I began to gain the knowledge of myself through the process in which where they were teaching me. And one thing led to another. Speed time up just a little bit further. See the problems that's going on in the community. I paid close attention and gained the education as to how I contributed to the problems in the community, and studying many of the greats like the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, Mansa Musa, Malcolm X, all of these different people who influenced me throughout my journey is how I pretty much got shifted and shaped into the person that I am today, and how I represent. Sherman just said he's in the backstage. How I represent myself in this lifetime. We are the Black Agenda Alliance, a Pan-African movement centered around everything in which you mentioned in the intro: self-development, self-love. We lead with culture, the cultural influence, and for the most part, the way that we view things and the way that we see things is that we've already been given the blueprint in regard to what it is that we need to do, you know. So we've taken it up on ourselves to produce that thereof in which we've been told to do. Produce for self. Don't wait for nobody. Don't wait for handouts. Don't beg. Don't sit in the background and wait for anything to get handed to you. Go and get it. Go through the fire to learn what you need to learn. Develop yourselves and keep on moving. So in a nutshell, that's us. That's the Black Agenda Alliance, a Pan-African organization in the state of Nebraska, geared towards self-development through self first.
I'm going to ask you, have you had some backlash for being too Black?
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
You know, and the reason why I ask that is it's always like we get backlash for not doing anything and being self-reliant. Then when you are being self-reliant, you become militant and, you know, this. So I was just curious. I mean, I already thought I knew the answer, but I thought I would ask and let you say for yourself. It just seems like any time that Black people come together, or even if it's just a few Black people, and we start to promote this idea of one, strengthening the Black family back to where it used to be. The Black family used to be very strong, very strong. Our heritage comes from that, because otherwise we couldn't have survived if we hadn't have been the family. They broke us up, they separated, they tried to do everything to keep us, because they realized that mentality was, if you can separate them, if you can put it in them to separatism, you will control it all the time because you're controlling the mind. So anytime it seems like we try to get that back together, or we try to develop Black economic independence, or we advocate for political education, power, and involvement, it's always a backlash. So it's like, damned if you do and damned if you don't. But I like you because what you said, damn it, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So just bring it on and come on, because I'm not going to bow. And that's one thing, you know, I get a lot of backlash, but it doesn't make any difference to me because I know myself, just as you said. When you have self and you have that understanding of who you are, what you're about, and why, it doesn't make any difference. It's just like, okay, bring it on, because I got it. Well, we got Sherman has come in, and Sherman Wells is my other guest. And Sherman, I'm going to give you a few minutes here before we go more into the agenda, to kind of inform the audience of who you are, what you're about, what is Black or Untamed LLC, and let them know. So if you want to take that over and give you a chance, I will do that.
Thank you for having us both on here together. I appreciate it. Kasim is one of the respected brothers in the community that I partner with a lot. And I'm also a member of the Black Agenda Alliance. Well, Untamed is a unified nation taking action mentally, erasing deception. And the unified nation that takes action mentally is really consists of me, my wife, and my daughter. We focus on family units. And so we do that by leading by example. And so with Untamed, over the years, we did a lot of family gatherings, and really our target is the youth from like 8 to 12, you know. It wasn't until I had a set location at the Bryan Center that I was able to run more of the programs and ideas that I had thought of, which was one is having a safe place to engage. And once you get a safe place for the community to engage, then you're able to build relationships. And we believe in Black first and the power of the Black family. So that's why it's a big promotion for us. And it's unapologetic, because I realize that with the Black family and Black people in general, we're the creators, we're the thinkers, we're the inventors. And if we can continue to build our legacy together as a family and push those things, there's nothing that we can't do. And as far as nobody that can stop us. And I know that we are God's blessed people. all of us. And so, yeah, Untamed is just a mentally erasing deception. So we put out a lot of, I'm going to be doing a lot more videos, and we put out a lot of stuff that help people change the way they think, really, you know.
Sherman, I'm going to add a little bit to what you said and it's very important, is
Yes.
you said that your group was mainly 8 to 12. But I
Yes,
noticed
ma'am.
at the programs that I saw that you were involved with at the Bryant
Hmm.
Center, the thing that I liked, because you understood, you know what? You tried to get the parents
Of course.
behind what you were doing. And that's important for you to let people know, is that
Yeah.
program may be for 8 to 12, but you've got to get those parents, you've got to help to teach those parents to believe in themselves, so that they can trickle that on down to their children, to say, hey, you can
Absolutely.
do this, you can be this. So I want to give you your kudos. I
Yeah.
think it's important. Your group may be looking at 8 to 12, but the most important part of that is you're not forgetting that it's home, because it's
Yeah.
both, as you, as Kasim said, it's the family. You got to have that
Gotta
somewhere,
have it.
whether it's single parent or both parents or grandma or auntie, because we all had those, but it's important. We've got to help, and particularly help the Black man. I'm not pushing a Black woman down. Don't by any means mean that, because we're strong. But we also want to be able to push so that I had a Instagram come to me the other day, and the guy said, nothing's worse than a Black woman having a Black man come home who hasn't done anything to be engaging and challenging to support that family. So
Mm.
we can't do it by ourselves, but we
No.
can do it with everybody coming and working together. I commend you both for the ideal of getting back to the concept of helping each other.
Hmm.
That's important. That's what I see when I hear and I read about what you're doing, is you are making sure that it's not saying it's just about me. It is about helping each other, because if one gets strong, we're going to reach back to help another one get stronger and develop. And I think, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, because is that what we're trying to do when we advocate for Black power? Not Black power, political education power and involvement. Could Go ahead. Are
Is
we
that
trying?
me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So to absolutely to answer your question, yes, we are. And unfortunately, everyone's not gonna get on board with that.
No.
You know,
No.
there's there's this thing that um I feel so strongly about, because it is what have worked, and it's what I believe. I don't believe that we'll all come together. I don't think
Right.
that that'll ever happen. But what I do believe is that the best of us with the righteous intentions will rise up against the evil of us with all of the wrong intentions. And we've been able to identify those both, may I say, white devils and black devils within our community that work
Absolutely.
against that in which pertains to that in which we're discussing, which is the ultimate problem, because the number one thing that have been done and intentionally have always been pushed upon us is the breakdown and the destruction of the
Yes.
black family. No one's talking about that. No
Mhm.
one wants to talk about it, because it's too much like right. It's become
Mm.
foreign. So yes, to answer your question, absolutely.
And people, when they look at this and say, one of the things that you said is you're having a conference coming up, and you say independence and empowerment, or to power. And the first thing that you will see is people, white and Black. Because as you said, we got the white devils and we got the Black. But
Yeah.
what they want to say is, oh my God, here comes this Black power group. Here comes that Black power stuff. Power to. But what's wrong with having power to the people? What's wrong with having power to Black people? If there is,
Nothing.
Well,
I'll open it,
Nothing's
yield
wrong
up.
with it. I think that the reason why I'm able to get along with people who's white and love white power, because if they, it's just as they proud to be white, we proud to be black. And when you recognize that, then y'all can work together for stuff that a common ground that may be something that y'all both facing adversity from through the system. And that's what it comes down to. And like the brother said, when you're doing the work and you start genuinely connecting with people based off their actions and the heart of it, and you see that the drive is not something else being pushed, it makes it easy to identify the real allies, because I know for a fact that God placed spiritual people here to connect for a reason during the war. And whether people want to recognize it or not, we are at war. And it's a war for souls. And it's been that war for years, good versus evil. And when you start getting clouded with the color of the war, then you start picking people that you think are an ally just based off their skin color, but it don't be true, And we had to learn that the hard way.
That is a very good point, is that people, I wish more people would understand, it's not a race issue. It's a people issue. It's our future, our children. You guys are, both of you are younger than I am, but it's still, I look at it as, I still, hopefully, with the good Lord, I have some future. And I see that in you both, Black strong men, there's a lot of future. And you've got future for your children. You're both fathers, grandfathers. One just had a new one there. So, and that is so, it is what we're trying to do. Just because you're trying to get power through education and involvement and empowerment, entrepreneurship and so forth, you're not doing it just to say, oh, it's just because Black or white or red or whatever. You're doing it to help people. And when one helps, the other one will move up too. And I'll let you say, whatever you want to add to that.
Back to what you were stating earlier about, so when it comes to the Black Agenda Alliance, we've had a lot of success. So we actually have a huge following. We have a lot of people in the community, especially from my generation and up under, which the generation before me in this city, at least, cannot say dropped the ball severely. I'm not old enough to have been responsible for the things that took place on 24th Street and the other places in which where a lot of my elders consider to be sacred. And because even like 24th Street, in my opinion, 24th Street is the evidence of what it looked like when your slave master says, "Here, I'm done with you."
Yeah.
Okay, you're done. It's over. Okay. And so I've been taught through time to learn through those lessons. We went off and bought our own 8 acres of property. We paid it off. We didn't have no grants. We didn't have no loans. We were smart. We put our collective dollar together. And while everybody was fighting over 24th Street, we went and bought us 8 acres in Florence. And actually just got done looking at development plans here Wednesday. We're working on producing our own facilities and everything. We ain't got an ARPA dollar. I can't spell ARPA or anything else. I can't. I can't. So my thing is, yes, you get what you said earlier in regard to, like, here comes the Black Power group. We've been we have is our relationship is weird. I went live and skinned some behinds the other day and got a phone call from several people in the community that are in position, shall I say, to make significant change, but have not, will not. So when it comes to us and stuff like that, as far as a Black Power group, and I don't know, Sister Cheryl, it's a lot. And even in the
I'm just going to interrupt you a minute. Is what I like, and I hope that you don't. when I made the comment about Black power, that's what others think.
They do.
We don't need to be concerned as much about what someone else thinks as we want to continue ourselves. And so
Absolutely.
for that, I say continue. If people want to say you're Black power, power to, the people that's, I always look at it like that's their problem. If that's the way they want to look at it, that's their problem. We have to continue to fight for the right of our children to have a future. And I wasn't back when 24th Street was, when they had a lot of the entertainment come in from other sources. But I do know I always like to be around my elders, and they would talk to me about how there was all these main entertainers who came in before they got big names. They came into Omaha, and you know where they went? They came to 24th Street.
Mm-hmm.
But they also, all along that way, there were Black businesses.
Right.
They may not have owned the building, but they were Black businesses. Everything you needed, you could get along 24th Street. So I want to see 24th Street improve, but I don't want it to be just entertainment. I want it to be about business, because see, that's what 24th Street used to be. So, I get back with people, well, you shouldn't say this and that, but I'm like, I don't think you have the right to tell me what I should say and shouldn't say. If I say something, I'm the one that's going to stand behind it. And if I have to take that, I took it because I made that statement. But I am not wanting to see 24th Street become this cultural arts and all that. That's not about what 24th Street in our history and your grandparents and maybe your parents' time. It was about when there were businesses. But those things have gone by the wayside. And now those that have an opportunity to change it, they want to go into this, well, we want to have the art center, and we want to have this, and we want to have the music and what. No, we need our children to be able to say, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to own that building. I want to own my business, because Malcolm X said, and did I agree with everything? No. Do I agree with something? Yes. But one thing that I always have said over and over again, if you don't own it, you don't control it. If you don't control it, you can't own it, and you can't decide what to do or not to do. Where you guys have, as you said, you bought 8 acres, you can decide which kind of development. All you got to do is just get all the permits, city and all that. But you have the decision whether that property, what will happen on it. And that's what you got to keep on pushing. And if people want to say, oh, you're Black this or that, so be it. Because again, I always go back, I tell our kids, that's their problem. Don't ever take on somebody else's problem of what you have to answer to. Unless they're taking care of you, you might have to do a little sucking up. But if they're taking care of yourself, you're not. So again, I have a great respect for what you're doing, both of you, because you are doing things that you are being able to control, and that you have the say, that you are encouraging younger. I've went online, and we'll make sure that we, now if this works, and I not the best in the technology yet, so bear with me. Bear with me. Where did we get this at? Okay. I want to make sure I get this in where time gets away. See, I ought to get on Sherman, because he knows I have problems like this. He's been going to help me for I don't know how long, and he got it done. But anyway, I would like for you to talk a little bit about this upcoming conference that you're going to have.
Man.
So about the Black family, and also let me go back over here. Next. There we go, with the Black conference, February 17th. Can you give us some more information?
Yeah, and we have to have stuff like this because I know people like you was talking about the black this and black that, where people say that when the reason why it's important to have a black agenda and an alliance focus on the black agenda because there's so many agendas against the black people. And so even looking at 24th Street, like y'all was talking about earlier, it's all on purpose because we're the only race here in Nebraska anyway that don't have their own district where our dollars can flow. If you look at the city makeup and the way it's done, and it's on purpose because we are the top spenders and consumers. So why would you allow black people to have their own place to consume and circulate their dollars? Continuously, we just make everybody else rich because we have to go to their district. So to spend our money and have a good time or whatever. And so when you talk about the Black Power Conference, and the part that I'm doing with on this is about restoring the black family, is because understanding the importance of having a black mom and a black dad in the house where your children can get both sides of the spectrum. You know what I mean? And then having those uncles, the grandmas and the grandpas that restores the connection to your power, because that's what keep you grounded and keep you reminded of who you are. And in this conference, we want to bring up the fact that people need to have their own protection and understanding how to carry and conceal a weapon safely. You know, because you need to be able to protect yourself. They say 911 calls is not fast enough, right? Then you got health insurance, life insurance. And then again, the programs that the BAA offer is more than just a program per se. It's a way of life. It's a way of changing the thinking and the systematic program that our children are already facing. Then you have this side that's snapping you out of it like, hey, no, this is not what you're supposed to be according to the system. Let's get back to the roots of who you really are. And so a Black Power Conference is just that. It reinstills the Black power that's already there. But what we do is just point it out. It's like telling your child, hey, go look in the refrigerator for something, and they don't see it. You got to keep showing them over and over that it's in there, and eventually they'll see it, you know. It's just when you facing so much adversity, and some of the adversity you face look just like you, and they're carrying the agenda of the system that they've been brainwashed to believe, then you start having that. But like, I don't care what nobody think or say about me. I'm unapologetic in my power or my ability to restore Black power or to talk about it. And this is why we have to do things like this. Black media, Black security, all that. It's just really important. And so when Brother Kasim thought of the idea, we sat down and we all put it together. I knew right away it was going to be a beautiful thing because the real Black power is the Black family, you know?
Kasim, would you like to elaborate on
Yes,
that? As
ma'am.
he said, he's and I want people to note that it is a 2-day conference. On the
Yes.
18th, it is going to be more geared towards the family, and hopefully we will have families come out together. And there is no cost to this. So this is, don't worry about, well, I don't have you don't have to worry. The thing that you're looking for is we want to, I've said you want to you know, bring in the ideal of restore the Black family because it is important. Because what are you planning on the 17th? That would be the conference for businesses, and I believe you're going to have voter education and so forth.
Correct. So everything Sherman said. So Black Power Conference. You know, recently we had Dr. Umar come in. We had Dr. Cornell West come in. And we just was like, man, you know, it would have been nice to have been able to exclusively attack this thing here. Both events were phenomenal. Probably barely even standing room, you know, at both events. But I said it would have been great had we gotten maximized coverage from Black media.
Well, I gotta kind of interrupt here just for a minute. What is our Black media?
Well, on this
where
right now we got to work with what we got.
And what do we have? So, you know, let the people know where they can find out where is
so we
Black
have
media.
So we have yourself, of course,
Oh, thank
conversations with Sister Cheryl, but we have Omaha Star,
you.
we have First Guy of Omaha, we have Heartland Newspaper, we have what is the other one? I feel like I'm missing one.
95.7 The Boss.
The boss. Yeah.
95 The Boss. Those are the ones that I know of currently. Okay.
And
And the
I,
one
And
that I've been doing
go ahead.
some, but
yeah.
me and my daughter has established U Media, and it's basically the news you care about.
Uh-huh.
And so I was doing just lives to update the community, but since I did get my DBA now done for it, I'll be doing more lives where I'm just covering the stories that the news won't cover, because there's a lot of times where things are going on in our community, and if it don't fit the agenda of the news, then they won't cover it.
There's a
Especially if it has something to do with accountability of city officials and things like that, you know.
right. And what the reason why I was stressing that is that's why we need a Black conference to talk about these things. How do we build upon that? How do we build to a wider Black media? Because there is Black
Well,
perspective is
well,
different. So
let me
go ahead.
let me let me let me be transparent. Let me be transparent. Okay. I'm gonna be honest. The demographic that that that's how do I put this? If I go live on my social media account
Uh-huh.
and I have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views,
Uh-huh.
okay, hundreds of comments and stuff like that, then just from that live feed, we could also call that a source of media. But I'm not media. That was just me voicing my thoughts, my concerns, or we could call it media. We can call it secular or something like that, right? But then we have yeah, I mean we can call it whatever, you know what I mean? Sherman, the same thing. We're targeting the demographic that these particular medias that I've mentioned are struggling to capture.
Right.
And that's where the disconnect is at, correct? So our focus, and if you ask us, okay, what are you looking to do by bringing these particular medias to a panel in which and where we can talk about mobilization of all Black media, okay, so that we're able to, um, you know, stroke each other in regard to pushing the messages, and also getting the demographic that that's captivated by what we have going on, that usually do not tap into these sources of media because of the disconnect, you know. So that would be the mobilization piece in regard to pulling those medias into a room, into a panel. Because I mean, if the event goes the way it's supposed to, I'm pretty sure it is. We usually have really nice turnouts, but even that took time, because whereas we have successful events with people in which and where you don't see anywhere else, but at our events, you know, we had to display a level of we had to gain a level of trust and consistency amongst our own people to even become captivating in that way, you know, to the point in which and where they would even take what we have to say for face value long enough to even listen to us, in which and where the ultimate goal here, let's just keep it real and be transparent on conversations with Sister Cheryl. Let's do that today. You know, we would like to be able to sway our people into righteous thinking.
Yes.
Okay, because I mean, even right, I mean, then we have a political panel, and we're biased. I'm not gonna lie, we're biased. We like who we like. We try to get a platform to everybody, but we have a political panel, in which and where we want to bring the people into a room that usually do not hear the conversations from the politicians, so that we can begin to shift the narrative. in the thought process, which is the reason for the voter registration and all that old type of stuff. Have conversations with the politicians that generally the politicians are not able to have with the streets and all that type of stuff. And then you have your wellness activist panel. You have your weaponry or your wellness activist panel, myself and Sherman and a couple of other, Lamont Gilchrist, Nika Johnson, we'll be on that wellness panel, dealing with the activist life. And then you'll have your weaponry. People will be able to get signed up for your CHP, CCW, weapon trainings. We're gonna have a good time with it.
Some people aren't familiar with your
we want to.
acronyms. Could you tell people what that stands for? See, that you just mentioned.
The CCW. It's not CCW anymore, which the CCW was the carry concealed weapon permit. It's now CHP, which is carry holders permit. And that's basic. And so we'll have Black registered, including myself, because I'm a certified range safety officer. We'll have
your phone muted.
Hold on, I'm muted.
Oh, there you go.
Are you here? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, I lost my audio from my car, but you guys can still hear me.
We can hear you. We can see you. We can hear you.
So giving the brothers life insurance, if brothers and sisters want to come to this conference on this particular day and give a nudge to their lives, they can. Generational, everything from tapping into the generational trauma and wellness, and life insurance is a big thing. People don't realize that breaks generational curses. Just not having the life, having the life insurance can break a generational curse. And so making sure that our people are in preparation. So the conference will pretty much cover a broad vast of things. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And I think it's important for it to cover that many things because, like I said, for us, we are creators, we thinkers, and they'll label our kids ADHD because they can think and do multitasking things. But it's just our nature to be able to do so many things at once.
Well, we've been forced to have to be able to do that. We couldn't just be on one.
No.
You have to be able to, because we live in two worlds. We live in, I'll just be frank with people. I'm like, no, we live in two worlds. And you can't get any, if you can survive that, you can't be any stronger.
Kasim, I think your thing is echoing.
So I do before we get out, I want to stress to people how important this year is, because this is an election year. And I'm going to be doing quite a few more programs with different candidates that we've asked. And
you on the political panel for the Black Conference.
All right.
Right.
And you invited me, so I always told you, if you invite me, hey, you get what you got, because I'm going to be open about what I say. But
that's why we invited you.
The reason why I say I hope that you will reach out to the candidates who are running for the various office. These are two things. One, if they show up or if they accept your invitation, okay, good. That gives them an opportunity to be into, because they really need your vote. And second, if they don't show up, then that just gives me, like for myself, I'm going to let everybody know who didn't. So, that means I think people who listen to each of us, because we all have our own set of listeners, is that it's our way of informing the individuals, because I don't try to tell people how to vote. I just want us to become more informed voters and stop sitting back and not voting. Well, using that, well, there isn't anybody really. What's the difference between the two? It's not so much as what are those difference going to be for your benefit, our benefit. And we already know what one might do. So therefore, we only got a choice of two. So it's not hard, but at least become an informed voter. And so I really like the point that you're bringing out. And I'm just hoping that all of us who have some type of media exposure will start to reach out to these candidates and say, hey, you want our vote? You know, we all know we can't just us alone win, but we can help or keep you from winning. And that's what I try to stress to when I'm like, okay, you don't want to come on my show? That's okay. But if you don't, I'm definitely going to tell I invited you, but you wouldn't come. So what do you think some of your faults? So I just want to hopefully encourage you guys to continue with that political, because it's politics now. And I
Yeah,
stress
clearly.
it's politics. It's a game. You got to learn to play it. And we have taken a back seat. And now it's time. And we have to be willing to call out our own. And I think that's very important is, you know, we can't keep giving our own a pass and then we sit back and complain. If we don't hold them accountable, I would say, why should anybody else hold us? So, but we're got a couple more minutes, so I'm going to let each one of you, if you would like to give your ending couple of minutes. Kasim, are you able to unmute where we can hear you? Okay, go ahead. And then Sherman, I'll let you give the closing.
Am I still echoing over here?
We can
No, we
barely
can
hear
hear you.
you.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
A little bit, not as good as it was.
Try something else. Okay, can you hear me now?
Go for it.
Okay. My closing remarks would be, you know, we keep striving alone for self, even when it's hard. You know, I've seen a lot of people. You know, I know who's sold out. I know who's getting ready to sell out, and I know who's thinking about it. Okay, and we have to maintain our stance, and we have. It's more vital that we try to, or it's more vital that we come together and exercise unity more than anything else. No matter how hard it is, I sit back and I watch the Mexicans do it. I watch the Asians come over here. I watch everybody do it. We've done it. You know, we come from a great people, and that we just need to continue to exercise that, you know, by all means. So, um, I just want to thank you, Sister Cheryl, for allowing us to come on and, you know,
Hmm.
give our feedback on a few things. It's been a long day, but we're gonna prevail. We're gonna get through it.
Sherman?
Um, so I would say that for one, I think people should just definitely focus on trying to understand your purpose in life. And then as you move through life, you're of course you're born with the family that you connected with through blood. But when you come across your spiritual family, don't be afraid to lean on them when y'all need each other, because the spiritual warfare gets so tough, you'll start feeling alone. And Kasim can attest to it. Like I talk to him about a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When even if I get to that point or if he get to that point, we
Mm-hmm.
lean on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so just remember that God didn't put us here alone and feeling like this to be alone. There's others, but if we don't talk to each other, we'll never know that that is our true spiritual calling and purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I say keep living in your purpose and vocalize your purpose. And that way you can connect more with your spiritual family that's here for the same purpose, which is the oldest battle in the book, and that's good versus evil, you know.
Hey. Well, thank you both. And I don't want this to be the last time. I'm
Of
opening
course.
up my program to you. Feel free. We can always make it happen. So this shouldn't be the end. It shouldn't be a one time, because we can't get to where we want to be if we just do one time.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
it's got to be a repeated over and over. It's just like we raise our children. You know, they don't learn because we tell them one time, don't touch the stove with that. We got to keep telling them. until they do touch that stove and they get burnt. And then they're like, hey, mom and dad was telling me, don't touch the stove. It's hot. But, you know, it was just that repeat. So I want to tell you both, you're always welcome. Give me a call and we see what kind of times we can get. And like I say, this can't be the last. This is too important of a year. And I speak because politics, I love it. And so politics is, and it's important. And I've learned that that's what we are existing on now. That's how everything is. It's all become that, unfortunately. And as you said, Sherman, many times, it's the bad versus the good. And that's where we're at now. But we can change it if we get out and make our voice heard and make our vote count. And we have to get out and vote. So I love the fact we're going to have registration. Registration's good, but it's getting out and doing the vote. So our job together isn't done until we get everyone out registered and to the voting. So I want to say again, thank you so much. I've enjoyed it. It won't be the last, folks, because this is good conversations with Cheryl Weston, and that's what I love. And as I always say, I got special guests. Because if they ain't special, they don't really get to be on my show too much. So all my guests are special, and they come on for a purpose, and that's to help the community and the people out there know things that I might and things that they know that I don't, so we can all become more educated. So I want you guys to have a great day, and thanks again.
All right, sister, love you.